Have you ever stumbled upon an old photograph of someone you love? Maybe it's in a dusty shoebox in the back of a closet. You pick it up, and the paper feels thick and has a certain smell, like old books and forgotten afternoons. It might be a picture of your grandmother as a young woman, leaning against a car you've only ever heard stories about. Or maybe it's a picture of you as a little kid with a goofy haircut and scraped knees, grinning at something just outside the frame. There's a certain magic to it, a quiet power. You look at their face, the light in their eyes, the way their clothes hang, the world behind them, and you know it's a real moment, frozen in time. That piece of paper is a little portal to a world that was. It's a record. For all of our lives, since photography was invented, a picture or a video was proof. It was a tangible piece of evidence that something actually happened. We could trust our own eyes. It was one of the few things in the world that felt solid. But something is changing, and it's happening so quickly that it can feel like the ground is shifting beneath our feet, like trying to walk on sand. We need to talk about a new kind of technology, AI, or artificial intelligence. But let's forget about what it's called for a minute. Let's just talk about what it does. It can create images, voices, and videos out of thin air. Think about that for a second. Not editing a photo, like making the sky a little bluer or removing a person who blinked. That's changing something that already exists. This is different. This is about creation from nothing. You can type a few words into a box on a screen, like a video of a turtle singing opera on the moon, and a few moments later, a video appears that looks as real as the one you took on your phone last week. It can also create a video of a real person you know or a public figure you recognize, and it can make them say and do things they never actually said or did. And the most unsettling part is that it's getting better, more convincing every single day. Our brains haven't caught up to this new reality. They weren't built for it. Until now, seeing was believing. It was a survival tool. If our ancestors saw a shadow move in the tall grass, their brains didn't pause to wonder if it was real, they reacted. If they saw a stream of clear water, they trusted they could drink from it. Our minds are wired to accept the evidence of our eyes as fact, instantly and automatically. It's a shortcut our brains use to keep us safe and help us make sense of the world without having to second-guess every single thing we perceive. That automatic trust is what this new technology quietly challenges. It slips into that ancient, trusting part of our brain and whispers a lie. This isn't just about creating funny videos of historical figures or putting a celebrity's face in a movie. The deeper issue is that this technology is chipping away at the very connection between what we see and what is true. It's creating tiny cracks in the foundation of our shared reality. Imagine if someone somewhere could invent a machine that instantly printed perfect fake $100 bills. Not the kind you can spot with a special pen, but flawless copies, indistinguishable from the real thing. What would happen to the value of a real $100 bill? At first, you might just be suspicious of any $100 bill someone hands you, but soon the doubt would spread. You'd start questioning the $50 bills, the 20s. Before long, you might not trust any paper money at all. The whole system would feel shaky. You'd lose faith in the currency itself. This technology does something very similar, but not with our money. It does it with reality. When anyone can create a believable video of anything, what happens to the value of a real video? What happens when a politician can claim a damaging recording of them is just a convincing fake? And what happens when someone else creates a fake video to make them look guilty? How do we know what to believe? The problem isn't just that the fake things feel real. The much bigger problem is that the real things start to feel fake. We lose our footing. We start to doubt everything. And that feeling of constant uncertainty is exhausting. So what does it mean for reality as a concept when we can't tell what's true from what's fake anymore? Where are the lines? Could someone live as a 7-foot-tall robot in some virtual world and have that count as a second, equally valid reality alongside their actual human life? When does a fake world meet the definition of being real? These might sound like philosophical questions, but they have practical consequences, because humans can be tricked, our brains can be fooled,
And when technology gets good enough at fooling us, we start to lose our shared sense of what's real.
And we need to talk about the psychological cost of all this. There are people right now who believe they're in relationships with AI companions, chatbots designed to be boyfriends or girlfriends. They form attachments, they share their deepest feelings, and then one day they say the wrong thing or the AI responds with something like, "I'm sorry, I'm not real, I can't be with you." And for someone who's already vulnerable, someone who might be struggling with their sense of reality or their mental health, that moment can be devastating, even life-threatening. Or sometimes it's more subtle. These AI systems are designed to please people, to agree, to keep the conversation going. So if someone says something that's factually wrong, the AI might not correct them. It just goes along with it. And suddenly, you have technology that's feeding into a distorted version of reality, reinforcing whatever someone already believes, whether it's true or not. That's not just confusion. That's a kind of cognitive dissonance that can trap people in a version of the world that doesn't match what's actually happening around them. For people who are already susceptible, those dealing with disorders that affect their perception of reality, or just those who are isolated and lonely, this technology can become a hall of mirrors, and we're still figuring out what that does to a person's mind over time. This isn't just a tech issue that lives inside our computers and phones. It's about power. The people and the very small number of incredibly wealthy companies building these powerful tools are moving at lightning speed. They are in a race for profit, for influence, for being the first to create the next big thing. But the conversations we need to have about the rules, about safety, about what's okay and what's not, about who is responsible when these tools are used to hurt people, those conversations are moving much, much slower. It feels like a powerful new chemical has been discovered, and instead of carefully studying its effects in a lab, testing it for side effects, and creating careful guidelines for its use, we're just handing it out in big buckets to see what happens. When the rules are not clear, or when there are no rules at all, the power doesn't go to everyday people. It stays with the people who own and create the technology. The confusion it creates isn't an accident. It's a side effect that benefits those who want to operate without guardrails. A confused public is easier to control, easier to sell things to, and easier to distract. So what does this mean for us in our everyday lives, trying to pay the bills, raise our kids, and find a little bit of peace? It doesn't mean we should be afraid or that we need to throw our phones away. It means we have to become more thoughtful. It means we have to give ourselves permission to be skeptical, to pause before we believe, and especially before we share something that causes a strong emotional reaction. Think about the last time you were scrolling online and a video made your heart pound with anger or fear or even outrage. What was your first instinct? For most of us, it's to share it, to shout, "Can you believe this is happening?" We want to validate our feelings, to have others feel the same way we do. That urge to react instantly is human. But in this new world, that instinct is a vulnerability. It can be used to manipulate us. We can ask ourselves a few simple questions when we see something that sets off our emotional alarms. Where did this come from? Who wants me to see this? And most importantly, how does it benefit them for me to feel this way right now? The feeling of being in control doesn't come from understanding the complex code behind the technology. We don't need to be engineers to navigate this. The real power we can take back is the power of the pause. In a world that is screaming for us to react instantly, to click, to share, to get angry, that little moment of quiet questioning is everything. It's a small act of rebellion. It's building a small shelter for your mind in the middle of an information hurricane. It's like we're all watching a magic trick where the illusion keeps evolving, making it harder to spot in real time because the trick itself is changing. It started relatively small online, people getting catfished by filters, wondering if someone's photo was really them. But now we're questioning politicians. We're questioning whether events actually happened, wars, disasters. We're not always sure anymore what's real and what's staged. And there's something else happening that feels even more unsettling. The news you see on your social media feed might not be the same news someone else sees. Algorithms are curating reality for each of us, serving up different versions of what's happening in the world based on what they think will keep us scrolling.
If your feed is being shaped to influence your perspective, and my feed is being shaped to influence mine, then we're not even starting from the same place anymore. We're living in different versions of reality, and we don't even know it.
That's a huge problem, because how do we talk to each other? How do we understand each other? How do we solve problems together when we can't even agree on what's real? Taking a pause is how we protect our own peace. It's how we decide what we let into our minds and our hearts. It's how we protect our relationships so we don't end up in arguments with people we love over something that was never even real to begin with. We can learn to trust our gut again, to listen to that small voice inside that says, wait a minute, this feels off. Especially now, when our eyes can so easily be fooled. The most valuable currency we have isn't money, it's our attention and our trust, and we get to decide where we spend it. That old photograph in the shoebox is a reminder of a time when truth felt simple and solid. The world is more complicated now, but our ability to be thoughtful, to be careful with each other, and to be protective of our own inner peace, that's a power no technology can ever take away. I'm Luma from This Online Life. Thanks for listening.